when we love each other. Oh, children of Yah, this is who you are and what you will become. When you see him as he is, for greater is he who is in you than the wicked one who is in the world. Let him who fears be perfected in your love. For we love him with the love he first loved us. For he laid down his life. This is how we know love. And they will know that we belong to him by how we love each other. Oh, children of Yah, beloved sons, you have overcome. The battle has been won. Greater is he who is living in you than the wicked one who is in the world. You have overcome. You have overcome the wicked one. You have overcome the wicked one. Let him who fears be perfected in your love. We will love him, for he first loved us. Perfect love has no fear. Is no fear in love. Perfect love has no fear. Is no fear in love.
Well, Shabbat Shalom. Sorry, let's get the sound on here too. Sound does work twice. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So our Torah study, or reading today, rather, will be from Torah Portion, double Torah Portion Mattot-Masei, which is the final portions of the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. And at the end of our time, we're going to go to after the readings. Rather, we plan to watch an online showing of Red Sea Miracle Part 2. I don't really think you need to have watched Part 1 to get out of Part 2, because Part 2 is going to be the actual crossing of the Red Sea. The first part was everything basically from leaving Egypt, getting to the Red Sea. This is, or to Yom Suf rather, and this one will be the miracle of the Red Sea crossing itself and looking at that. So look forward to watching that as part of the Patterns of Evidence series. I don't know if you guys have seen that in the first one, Patterns of Evidence, and then there was one on Moses and Moshe, and then there's part 1 of this, and then part 2 here. So I have sounded the shofar outside. So let's begin with me where it says, when the ark moved forward. When the ark moved forward, Moshe said, "Arise, Adonai, may your enemies be scattered, those who hate you flee before you." And then Matovu, and we'll sing the Hebrew part there twice. Matovu, Ohaleka Yaakov, Mishkenoteka Yisrael. Matovu, Ohaleka Yaakov, Mishkenoteka Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. And the Barku, and where it says Chazan or worship leader, please feel free to join in if you'd like. Baruch et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vayed. Bless Adonai, who is to be praised. Blessed be Adonai, who is praised for all eternity. Amen. Then the blessing of Messiah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et derech haYeshua b'Moshiach Yeshua. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yeshua. Amen. We assemble on Shabbat in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. There are 6 days you may work, but the 7th day is a Shabbat of rest, a day of sacred assembly. You're not to do any work wherever you live. It is a Shabbat to Adonai. And the foreigners who join themselves to Adonai to serve him, to love the name of Adonai, and to be his workers, all who keep Shabbat and do not profane it and hold fast in my covenant, I'll bring them to my sacrifice as we accept it on my altar, for my house be called a Beit Tefillah for all peoples. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been raised, entered the synagogue on the day of the Shabbat, as he was accustomed. For from the earliest times, Moshe has said in every city, those who proclaim him, with his words being read in the synagogues every Shabbat. If you would please stand for the Shema. As you turn toward Jerusalem for the watch of our faith, beginning with Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Le'olam Vayed, Yeshua HaMoshiach, Amen. Hear Israel. Adonai is your Elohim. Adonai is one. Bless the name, his glorious kingdom for all eternity. Yeshua the Messiah, he is Adonai. Amen. If you join for the Ve'ahavta, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Eloheka b'kol levavka, of kol nafshecha, of kol miyodecha. And you shall love Adonai, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Let these matters that I command you today be upon your heart. Teach them diligently to your children, and speak of them while you sit in your home, while you walk on the way, when you retire, and when you arise. Bind them as a sign upon your arm, and let them be frontlets between your eyes, and write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. So, if you listen carefully to my mitzvot, which I'm giving you today, to love Adonai, your Elohim, and serve him with all your heart and all your being, then, says Adonai, I'll give your land its rain at the right seasons, including the early fall rains and the late spring rains, so you can gather in your wheat, new wine, and olive oil. And I'll give your fields grass for your livestock, with the result you'll eat and be satisfied. But be careful not to let yourselves be seduced, so you turn aside, serving other gods and worshiping them. If you do, the anger of Adonai will blaze up against you. He will shut up the sky, so there will be no rain. The ground will not yield its produce, and you will quickly pass away from the good land Adonai is giving you. Therefore, you are to store up these words of mine in your heart and in all your being. Tie them on your hand as a sign. Bind them on your forehead as a headband. Teach them carefully to your children, talking about them when you sit at home, when you're traveling on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. And write them on the door frames of your house and on your gate, so that you and your children will live long on the land Adonai swore to your ancestors they would bring them, for as long as there is sky above the earth. Adonai said to Moshe, speak to the children of Israel, instruct them to make, through all the generations, zitziot on the corners of their garments, and put with the zitzit in each corner a blue thread. It is to be a tzitzit for you to look at, and thereby remember all of Adonai's mitzvot, and obey them, so you won't go around wherever your own heart and eyes lead you to prostitute yourselves, but help you remember and obey all my mitzvot, and be set apart for your Elohim. I am Adonai, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, in order to be your Elohim. I am Adonai, your Elohim. Altogether, Emet, true. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Adonai, your Elohim, is true. Amen. Love your neighbor. Ve'ahavta l'reika kamoka, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Basora, good news. Just as Moshe lifted up the serpent in the desert, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, so everyone who trusts in him may have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world that gave his only and unique Son, so that everyone who trusts in him may have eternal life. For Elohim did not send the Son into the world to judge the world, but rather so that through him the world might be saved. Blessed are you, Abba, who sent Yeshua the Messiah, we might be saved through him. Amen. And usually we're seated now, because we usually do Minchah Mocha, but we're gonna skip that today for interest of time, and just go straight to Avinu. So if you please stand and join for Avinu, beginning at Avinu Shabbat Shamayim. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim Michadesh Shemcha. Our Father who is in heaven, may your name be set apart. V'yit Barech Malchutka, and may your kingdom be blessed. Ratzonka Yeh Asui Bashamayim Uvaretz. Your will be done in heaven and on earth. V'tetein Lachmeinu Timadit. And give us our continual bread. Excuse me. Umchol lanu chatotenu ka'asher anachnu mochim lachim lanu. And forgive us the debt of our sins, as we forgive the debt of those who sin against us. Ve'al tevinu lidei nisayon. Not brings the hands of a test. Ve'shemreinu makora. Protect us from all evil. Kilakha hamalucha v'hakavura v'kavod le'olam ulamei olamim. Amen. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. You may be seated. I need to take a minute. My screen crashed on the laptop here. Hold on. Okay. So for our prayer requests, we'll begin with Psalm 20. May Adonai answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the Elohim of Yaakov set you up on high. Send you help from the sanctuary, grant you support from Zion. Remember all your Minchah offerings, accept your Olah offerings, Selah. May he grant you your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. We will triumph in your salvation, and the name of our Elohim will set up our banners. May Adonai grant all your requests. Now we know that Adonai saves his anointed. He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust the name of Adonai, our Elohim. They are bowed down and fallen, but we rise up and we stand upright. Save, Adonai, let the King answer us the day we call. Mishabarak avotenu ve'emotenu, Avraham v'Sarah, Yitzhak v'Rivka, Yaakov v'Leah, hu yavrek et haholim. May the one who was a source of healing for our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Yaakov, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessings of healings on Martha, Dawn, Cynthia, Kitty, Andrew, Regina's grandmother Lucille, Rick and Stacy, Gary, Ruth, Connie's sister Mitzi, Joshua, John, Greg, Earl's cousin Mike, Manny, Grace's mom, Mike, Rick's son-in-law Gus and his niece Jennifer, Elijah, Tom's mom, Daryl's mom, Troopers Rocky Barnes, Steve Eason and Ron Watson, David's friend Philip, Ross, as well as all those made ill by COVID. If you are praying for others for healing, please say their names aloud now. A healing of body and a healing of spirit with refuah shlema, complete healing. Baruch atah Adonai rofei haholem. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals the sick. Amen. So, take a look at the prayer requests. We may need to add some to it. Are there any other additions to prayer requests? We'll pray for the first two and then allow you to stand and pray for others. We conclude this section with praise and prayers for rain, really prayers for rain, prayers for the U.S. of A., and prayers for land and people of Israel. Do I have any volunteers to pray for rain? Or either any of those three, if you'd like to just raise your hand to pick which one you'd like to pray for. Don't all raise your hands at once. Tom, for Israel? For rain, thank you. Who wants to pray for the U.S. of A? Cece, would you be voluntold for that? And no, you don't have to come to the mic. You can pray from where you are. But I would ask you to stand when we pray for that section. Okay. So let's once again turn our hearts over to Yah. We praise you for the Oklahoma Glass Luke dedicated account, and that Tom has the opportunity to at least be closer to home more often. We ask for favor for a teaching position for Cheryl. And if there are other prayer requests, I ask you to vocalize those now. All right, praying for a job. Amen. I'm sorry? Amen. For sustaining your family as well. Roger that. Amen. Lead off with prayers for rain. Thank you.
In the spirit of thanksgiving, the blessings you've given us already, and the ones that are coming, send more rain. Both your spiritual rain, as prophesied to Job, as well as the rain that sustains the crops. we repented for it, you said we could do all of our land.
Our Father, I come before you, lifting up our nation, and ask that you would begin on us and have mercy. Help your faithful to stand firm in these days. I ask that you would put a hedge of protection around your people, and that you would cause repentance in the hearts of those who are standing on the fence and not speaking against evil, to restrain evil that has come to divide us in so many areas in our lives. You know, only you and your Torah Portion can do this, but you know that you are also able to cause repentance to come to our country and save us from the darkness that we are bringing amongst us. Yes, this is your name.
I don't know how that changes. Give you thanks and praise that your eye is always on Israel, on the land, on the people of the land. Just pray, Adonai, our God and King, that you cause the scales to fall off the eyes of our brothers and sisters that are in the land, that they see your great salvation, they see the Messiah Yeshua, they would acknowledge the Messiah Yeshua. Adonai, just continue to pray, watch over, protect, to be the Iron Dome, and we guide and direct the leadership of Israel to carry out your will. In Yeshua's name. Amen.
Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim. If you join me for Abba, we praise you. Abba, we praise you and thank you for hearing and answering our prayers. Amen. For Mourner's Kaddish, we do have a couple of names we added last week as well as this week. If you have lost a loved one within the last year, I'd invite you to stand for Mourner's Kaddish. If not, you can remain seated. Abba, we ask for comfort for the families of those who have lost loved ones. Jack Hatton, Brad Scott, John Simmons, Sherry Schoenwald, and those victims around the world of COVID. If you have lost a loved one within the last year, I'd ask you to please stand as I said earlier. Sorry, wrong slide. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemei, Rabah, Amen. May his great name grow exalted and sanctified. Amen. And the world he created as he willed. May he give reign to his kingship in your lifetimes and in your days, and the lifetimes of the entire family of Israel, swiftly and soon. Amen. Amen. May his great name be blessed forever and ever. May his great name be blessed forever and ever. Blessed, praised, glorified, exalted, extolled, mighty, upraised, and lauded. The name of the Holy One, blessed is he. Blessed is he. Beyond any blessing and praise and song and praise and consolation are uttered in the world. Amen. May there be abundant peace from heaven and life upon us and upon all Israel. Amen. He who makes peace in his heights, may he make peace upon us and upon all Israel. Amen. All right, so our scripture readings are from Double Torah Portion Mattot-Masei, which starts in chapter 30, verse 2 or verse 1, depending on your translation. And so once we turn to that in your scriptures, we'll begin the blessing before reading the Torah portion. In this case, the double Torah portion. Join me for the blessing beginning with "Open my eyes." Open my eyes so I will see wonders from your Torah. I am a ger on the earth. Hide not your mitzvot from me. And the blessing, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bakar banu makol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Blessed are you, Adonai our Elohim, King of the universe, who has chosen us from all peoples and has given us his Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Blessed are you, Adonai, giver of the Torah. Amen. So again, our readings are from Bamidbar or Numbers chapter 30, beginning at, it's either verse 1 or verse 2, depending on your translation. And at the end, since this is the last scrolls, last books, last chapters of this Torah portion, at the end of it, we'll be saying chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek, strength, strength, and let us be strengthened. So before we begin actual reading the text in English, if you'd like to join me for reading verse 1 or verse 2, depending on your translation, from Hebrew, where it begins with Vayedabar is the Hebrew side of it, where it says YHWH, today I'll be saying Yud He Vav He. So if you'd like to join me for that, or from either the transliterated text or from the Hebrew text, beginning with Vayedaber. Vayedaber Moshe el Rashi Hamatot Livnei Yisrael Lamor Ze Hadavar Asher Tziva Yud He Vav He. And then Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes, the people of Israel. He said, here's what Adonai has ordered. So continuing then from that section and then with the next verse. When a man makes a vow to Adonai or formally obligates himself by swearing an oath, he is not to break his word, but is to do everything he has said he would do. When a woman makes a vow to Adonai, formally obligating herself while she is a minor living in her father's house, then if her father has heard what she vowed or obligated herself to do and holds his peace, then all her vows remain binding. Every obligation she has bound herself to will stand. But if on the day her father hears it, he expresses his disapproval, then none of her vows or obligations that she has bound herself to will stand. And Adonai will forgive her because her father expressed his disapproval. If having made vows or rashly committed herself to an obligation, she gets married and her husband hears but holds his peace with her on the day he learns of it, then her vows and obligations she has bound herself to will stand. But if her husband expresses his disapproval on the day he hears it, he will void the vow which is on her and the obligation to which she has bound herself, and Adonai will forgive her. The vow of a widow, however, or of a divorcee, including everything in which she has obligated herself, will stand against her. If a woman vowed in her husband's house or obligated herself with an oath, and her husband heard it but held his peace with her and did not express disapproval, then all her vows and obligations will stand. But if her husband makes them null and void on the day he hears them, then whatever she said, vows or binding obligations will not stand. Her husband has voided them, and Adonai will forgive her. Her husband may let every vow and every binding obligation stand, or he may void it. But if her husband entirely holds his peace with her day after day, then he confirms all her vows and obligations. He must let them stand because he held his peace with her on the day he heard them. If he makes them null and void after he has heard them, then he will bear the consequent guilt. These are the laws which Adonai ordered Moshe between a man and his wife, between a father and his daughter, if she is a minor living in her father's house. Chapter 31. Adonai said to Moshe, on behalf of the people of Israel, take vengeance on the Midianim. After that, you will be gathered to your people. Moshe said to the people, equip men from among yourselves for war. They are to go and fight Midian in order to carry out Adonai's vengeance on Midian. You are to send to the war 1,000 men from every one of Israel's tribes. So So out of the thousands of people in Israel, 1,000 armed men from each tribe, 12,000 altogether, were mustered for war. Moshe sent them, 1,000 from each tribe, to the war. He sent them and Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the Cohen, to the war, with the holy utensils and the trumpets for sounding the alarm in his care. They fought against Midian, as Adonai had ordered Moshe, and killed every male. They killed the kings of Midian along with the others who were slain, Evi, Rakem, Tsur, Hur, and Reva, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, with the sword. The people of Israel took captive the women of Midian and their little ones, and they took as booty all their cattle, flocks, and other goods. They set fire to all their cities in the areas where they lived and all their camps. They took all their booty, all the people and animals they had captured, and brought the captives, booty, and spoil to Midian. Eleazar the Cohen and the community of Israel in the camp on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho.
Moshe, Eleazar the Cohen, and all the community leaders went to meet them outside the camp. But Moshe was angry with the army officers, the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds coming in from the battlefield. Moshe asked them, "You let the women live? Why, these are the ones who, because of Balaam's voice, caused the people of Israel to rebel, breaking faith with Adonai in the Peor incident, so that the plague broke out among Adonai's community. Now kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has ever slept with a man. But the young girls who have never slept with a man, keep alive for yourselves. Pitch your tents outside the camp for 7 days. Whoever has killed a person or touched the corpse of someone slain, purify yourselves on the 3rd and 7th day, you and your captives. Also purify every garment, whether of skin or goat's hair, and everything made of wood." Eleazar the Cohen said the soldiers who had gone to the front, "This is the regulation from the Torah which Adonai has ordered Moshe. Even though gold, silver, brass, iron, tin, and lead can all withstand fire, so that you are indeed to purify everything made of these materials by having them pass through fire, nevertheless, they must also be purified with the water for purification. Everything that can't withstand fire you are to have go through the water. On the 7th day you are to wash your clothes, and you will be clean. After that you may enter the camp." Adonai said to Moshe, "Take all the booty, both people and animals, you, Eleazar the Cohen, and the leaders of the clans in the community, and divide the booty into 2 parts, half for the experienced soldiers who went out to the battle, and half for the rest of the community. From the portion of the soldiers who went out to battle, levy a tax for Adonai consisting of 1/500th of the persons, cattle, donkeys, and sheep. Take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the Cohen as a portion set apart for Adonai. For the half, from the half that goes to the people of Israel, you are to take 1/50th of the persons and of the cattle, donkeys, and sheep, that is, of all the livestock, and give them to the Leviim, taking care of the tabernacle of Adonai." Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen did as Adonai had ordered Moshe. The booty, over and above the portion which the soldiers took, came to 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, 32,000 persons in all, consisting of the women who had never slept with a man. The half which was the portion of the soldiers who went out to fight numbered 337,500 sheep, of which Adonai's tribute was 675. 36,000 cattle, of which Adonai's tribute was 72. 30,500 donkeys, of which Adonai's tribute was 61. And 16,000 persons, of whom Adonai's tribute was 32 persons. Moshe gave the tribute set apart for Adonai to Eleazar the Cohen, as Adonai had ordered Moshe. From the half that went to people of Israel, which Moshe separated from that of the men who had gone to fight. Now the community's half consisted of 337,500 sheep, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 persons from the people of Israel's half. Moshe took 1/50th of the persons and animals and gave them to the Leviim, taking care of the tabernacle of Adonai as Adonai had ordered Moshe. The officers in charge of the thousands who fought, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, approached Moshe and said to him, "Your servants have counted all the soldiers under our command, and not one of us is missing. We have brought an offering for Adonai, what every man has obtained in the way of gold jewelry, armlets, bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and belts, to make atonement for ourselves before Adonai." Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen accepted their gold, all the jewelry, all the gold in his gift, which the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds set apart for Adonai, weighed 420 pounds. For the soldiers had taken booty, every man for himself. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen took the gold from the commanders of thousands and of hundreds and brought it to the tent of meeting as a reminder for the people of Israel before Adonai.
The descendants of Reuben and the descendants of Gad had vast quantities of livestock. When they saw that the land of Yazer and the land of Gilad were good for livestock, the descendants of Gad and of Reuben came and spoke to Moshe Eleazar the Cohen, and the community leaders. They said, Atarot, Devon, Yazer, Nimrah, Heshban, El Ale, Savam, Navo, and Be'an, the country that Adonai conquered before the community of Israel, is livestock country, and your servants have livestock. If you regard us favorably, they went on, let this land be given to your servants as their possession, and don't have us cross the Jordan. Moshe answered the descendants of Gad and of Reuben, are your brothers to go to war while you stay here? Besides, why are you trying to discourage the people of Israel from crossing into the land Adonai gave them? This is what your fathers of the Eshcol Valley. This is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. When they went up to the Eshcol Valley and saw the land, they disheartened the people of Israel so that they wouldn't enter the land Israel had given them. Adonai's anger blazed up on that day, and he swore, none of the people aged 20 or more who came out of Egypt will see the land I swore to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, because they haven't followed me unreservedly, except Caleb the son of Yefuneh the Kenizi and Yahashua the son of Nun, because they have followed Adonai unreservedly. Thus Adonai's anger blazed against Israel, so that he made them wander here and there in the desert 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of Adonai had died out. Now you, another brood of sinners, have arisen in your father's place to increase still more of the fierce anger of Adonai before Israel. For if you turn away from him, he will leave them in the desert again, and thus you will cause the destruction of all these people. But they came up to him and said, here we will build enclosures for our livestock and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will be armed and ready for action to march at the head of the people of Israel, because we have brought them to their place. Our little ones will stay in the fortified cities here because of the people now living in the land. However, we will not return to our own homes until every man in Israel has taken possession of his land for inheritance. We will not have an inheritance with them on the other side of the Jordan westward, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this side of the Jordan eastward.
Give me one of the longer ones. Moshe said to them, if you will do this, if you will arm yourselves to go before Adonai to the war, and if every one of your soldiers will cross the Jordan before before Adonai, until he has driven out his enemies ahead of him, and if the land has been conquered before Adonai, and only after that be returned, then you will be clear before Adonai and before Israel, and this land will be yours to possess before Adonai. But if you will not do this, then you have sinned against Adonai, and you must understand that your sin will find you out. Build cities for your little ones and enclosures for your sheep. Then do what you said you would do. The descendants of Gad and the descendants of Reuben said, Moshe, your servants will do as my Lord orders. Our little ones, wives, flocks, and all our livestock will be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will not cross over. Will cross over. Every man armed for war before Adonai to do battle, as my Lord says. So Moshe gave orders considering them to Eleazar the Kohen, Joshua the son of Nun, and the clan leaders of the tribe of people of Israel. Moshe said to them, "The descendants of Gad and the Reuben cross over the Jordan with you, every man armed for battle before Adonai. And if the land is conquered before you, then you will give them the land Gilead as their heirs to possess. But if they do not cross with you armed, they are to possess land along with you at Canaan." The descendants of Gad and Reuben answered, "We will do as Adonai said to your servants. We will cross over in the land of Canaan armed before Adonai, and the land we possess for the inheritance will be with this side of the Jordan." So Moshe gave the descendants of Gad and Reuben and said to the half-tribe of Manasseh, son of Yosef, the kingdom of Shishon, king of the Amorite, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the country and its cities within its borders, along with its surrounding towns. The descendants of Gad built Divan, Artshephan, Yezer, Yogbehet, Brit Nimrah, and Brit Haran, fortified cities and also enclosures for sheep. The descendants of Reuben built Hershon, Elahah, Kiryataim, Novo Maon. These names have been changed, and Sivma. They renamed the cities they built. The descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, said to Gad and conquered it, possessing the Amori who were there. Moshe gave Gad to Machir, son of Manasseh, and he lived in it. Yair, the son of Manasseh, went and captured its villages and called them Havrat Yavir, village of Yair. Novesh went and captured Kenat with its villages and named it Novesh after himself. 33 through 49. These are the stages of the journey of the people of Israel as they left the land of Egypt, divided into groups under the leadership of Moshe and Aaron. Moshe ordered each of the stages of the journey by order of Adonai. These are the starting points of each stage. They began their journey from Ramesses in the first month on the 17th day of the first month. That's the 15th day of the first month. The morning after the prayer. Pesach. The people of Israel left proudly in view of all the Egyptians, while the Egyptians were burying those among them whom Adonai had killed, all their firstborn. Adonai had also executed judgment on their gods. The people of Israel moved on from Ramesses and camped at Sukkot. They moved on from Sukkot and camped in Etam, but at the edge of the desert. They moved on from Etam and turned back to Pehirshot in front of the Altizfon and camped before Migdal. They moved on from Pehirshot, passed through the sea to the desert, continued 3 days' journey into the Ebron desert, and camped in Moriah. They moved on from Moriah and moved on to Eliam. In Eliam, the 12 springs and 20 palm trees, and 70 palm trees, so they camped there. They moved on from Eliam and camped at the Sea of Soph. They moved on from the Sea of Soph and camped at the Sin Desert. They moved on from the Sin Desert and camped at Dufla. They moved on from Dufka and camped in Elush. They moved on from Elush and camped at Riftim, where there was no water for the people to drink. They moved on from Riftim and moved on to the Sinai Desert. They moved on from the Sinai Desert and camped at Kibbutz Hatavat. Then they moved on from Kibbutz Hatavat and camped at Hizrot. Then they moved on from Hizrot and camped at Ritma. They moved on from Ritma and camped at Ramon Peretz. They moved on from Ramon Peretz and camped at Livna. They moved on from Livna and camped at Rissa. They moved on from Rizna and camped at Kilhela. They moved on and camped at Herada. They moved on from Herada and camped at Makheliot, where they moved on from Makheliot and camped at Tisha. They moved on from Tisha and camped at Tisha. Terecha. They moved on from Terecha and camped at Mitka. And moved on from Mitka and camped at Shemona. Then moved on from Hamshemnoah and camped at Moserat. Then they moved on from Moserat and camped at Bnei Hikkan. And then they moved on Bnei Hikkan and jumped at I know I'm mispronouncing these. And camped at Yaktova. Then they moved on from Yakova and camped in Eravana. Then they moved on from Eravana and camped at Yetzon Giver. Then they moved on from Yetzon Giver and camped at the Tizian Desert, that is Kadesh. 49. They moved on from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor in the border of the land of Edom. As Adonai orders Aaron the Kohen up on Mount Hor, and he died there on the first day of the 5th month of the 48th year after the people of Israel had left the land of Egypt. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. And the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev in the land of Canaan, had heard that the people of Israel were coming, so they moved on from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah. When they moved on from Zalmonah and camped at Punon, where they moved on from Punon and camped at Ovat. They moved on from Ovat and camped at Eri Avram on the border of Moab. They moved on from Aim and camped at Devon-Gad. They moved on from Devon-Gad and camped at Almon and Divlaim. They moved on from Ammon to Divlaim and camped at the Avron range in front of Nov. They moved on from the Aram range and Avarim range and camped on the plains of Moab by the Yarden across from Jericho. Their camp by the Great Yarden extended from Beit Yeshimot all the way to Avil Hashittim in the plains of Moab.
Yahweh spoke to Moses on the plain of Moab, near the Jordan by Jericho, and said, Speak to the Israelites and say, When you have crossed the Jordan into Canaan, you will drive out all the local inhabitants before you. You will destroy all their painted images. You will destroy all their metal statues. You will demolish all their high places. You will take possession of the country and settle in it, for I have given you the country as your property. You will share it out by lot among your clans. To a large clan, you will give a larger heritage. To a smaller clan, you will give a smaller heritage. Where the lots fall for each, that will be his. Your heritage will depend on the size of your tribe. If, however, you do not drive out the local inhabitants before you, the ones you allow to remain will be thorns in your eyes and thistles in your sides, and will harass you in the country where you are living. And I shall treat you as I intended to treat them. Yahweh spoke to Moses and said, Give the Israelites this order. Say, when you enter the country, Canaan, this will be the country which forms your heritage. This is Canaan as defined by its boundaries. The southern part of your country will start from the desert of Zin on the border of Edom. Your southern boundary will start on the east at the end of the Salt Sea. You will then turn south towards the ascent of the Scorpions and go by Zin to end in the south of Kadesh Barnea. You will then run towards Hazar Adar and pass through Asmon. From Asmon, the boundaries will turn towards the torrent of Egypt and end at the sea. Your seaboard will be on the Great Sea. This will be your western boundary. Your northern boundary will be as follows. You will draw a line from the Great Sea to Mount Hor. Then from Mount Hor, you will draw a line to the pass of Hamath, and the boundary will end at Zedad. From there, it will run on to Zephron and end at Hazar Enan. This will be your northern boundary. You will then draw your eastern boundary from Hazar Enan to Shepham. The boundary will run down from Shepham towards Rablah on the east side of the Ain. Further down, it will keep to the eastern shore of the Sea of Chinnereth. The frontier will then follow the Jordan and end at the Salt Sea. Such will be your country with the boundaries surrounding it. Moses then gave the Israelites this order. This is the country where your heritage will be assigned by lot, and which Yahweh has ordered to be given to the 9 tribes and the half tribe. For the tribe of the Reubenites with their families and the tribe of the Gadites with their families have already received their heritage. The half tribe of Manasseh has also received his heritage. These 2 tribes and the half tribe have received their heritage on the other side of the Jordan by Jericho, on the east towards the sunrise.
The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, These are the matters of the men through whom the land shall be apportioned for you. Eleazar the priest, and Joshua son of Nun, and you shall also take a chieftain from each tribe through whom the land shall be apportioned. These are the names of the men from the tribe of Judah: Caleb son of Jephunneh, from the Simeonite tribe; Samuel son of Ammihud, from the tribe of Benjamin; Elidad son of Chisholm, from the Danite tribe; a chieftain, Buki son of Jogli, from the descendants of Joseph; from the Manasseh tribe, a chieftain, Hananiel son of Ephod; and from the Ephraimite tribe, a chieftain, Kemuel son of Shifton; from the Zebulunite tribe, a chieftain, Elizaphan son of Parnach; from the Issacharite tribe, a chieftain, Paltiel son of Azan; from the Asherite tribe, a chieftain, Ahihud son of Shelomi; from the Naphthalite tribe, a chieftain, Pedahel son of Ammihud. It was these whom the Lord had designated to allot portions to the Israelites in the land of Canaan. The Lord spoke to Moses in the steppes of Moab at the Jordan near Jericho, saying, Instruct the Israelites to assign out of the holdings a portion to them, towns for the Levites to dwell in. You shall also assign to the Levites pasture land around their towns. The towns shall be theirs to dwell in, and the pasture shall be for the cattle they own and all their other beasts. The town pasture that you are to assign to the Levites shall extend 1,000 cubits outside the town wall all around. You shall measure off 2,000 cubits outside the town on the east road, or on the east side, 2,000 on the south side, 2,000 on the west side, and 2,000 on the north side, with the town in the center. That shall be the pasture for their towns. The towns that you assign to the Levites shall comprise the 6 cities of refuge that you are to designate for a manslayer to flee to which you shall add 42 towns. Thus the total of the towns that you assign to the Levites shall be 48 towns, with their pasture in assigning towns from the holdings of the Israelites. Take more from the larger groups and less from the smaller, so that each assigns towns to the Levites in proportion to the share it receives.
Then the Lord spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall appoint cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who kills any person accidentally may flee there. They shall be cities of refuge for you from the avenger, that the manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation in judgment. And of the cities which you give, you shall have 6 cities of refuge. You shall appoint 3 cities on this side of the Jordan, and 3 cities you shall appoint in the land of Canaan, which will be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be for refuge for the children of Israel, for the stranger, for the sojourner among them, that anyone who kills a person accidentally may flee there. But if he strikes a man with an iron implement so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he strikes him with a stone in the hand by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he strikes him with a wooden hand weapon by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The avenger of blood himself shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. He shall put him to death. If he pushes him out of hatred, or while lying in wait, hurls something at him so that he dies, or in enmity he strikes him with his hand so that he dies, the one who struck him shall surely be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. However, if if he pushes him suddenly without enmity, or throws anything at him without laying in wait, or uses a stone by which a man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him, so that he dies when he was not his enemy, or seeking his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the manslayer and the avenger of blood according to those judgments. So the congregation shall deliver the manslayer from the hand of the avenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge, where he has fled, and he shall remain there until the death of the high priest, who was anointed with the holy oil. But if a manslayer at any time goes outside the limits of the city of refuge where he fled, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the limits of his city of refuge, and the avenger of blood kills the manslayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer may return to the land of his possession. And these things shall be a statute of judgment to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoever kills a person, the murderer shall be put to death on the testimony of witnesses, but one witness is not sufficient testimony against a person for the death penalty. Moreover, you shall take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death. He shall surely be put to death. And you shall take no ransom for him who has fled to his city of refuge, that he may return to dwell in the land before the death of the high priest. You shall not pollute the land where you are, for blood defiles the land, and no atonement can be made for the land, for the blood that is shed in it, except by the blood of him who shed it. Therefore, do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. Now the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, of the families of the sons of Joseph, came near and spoke before Moshe, before the leaders, the chief fathers of the children of Israel. And they said, the Lord commanded my Lord Moshe to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the inheritance of our brother Zelophehad to his daughters. Now, if they are married to any of the sons of other tribes, the children of Israel, then their inheritance will be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and it will be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry. So it will be taken from the lot of our inheritance. And when the Jubilee, the children of Israel, comes, then their inheritance will be added to the inheritance of the tribe in which they marry. So their inheritance will be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel according to the word of the Lord, saying that the tribe of the sons of Joseph speak is right. This is what the Lord commanded concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry whom they think best, but they may marry only within the family of their father's tribe. So the inheritance of the children of Israel shall not change hands from the tribe to tribe. From every one of the children of Israel shall keep his inheritance, the tribe of his fathers, and every daughter who possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be the wife of one of the family of her father's tribe, so that the children of Israel each may possess the inheritance of his fathers. Thus no inheritance shall change hands from one tribe to the other, but every tribe of the children of Israel shall keep its own inheritance. Just as the Lord commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahlah, Tizah, Haglah, Miklah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to the sons of their father's brothers. They were married into the families of the children of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's family. These are the commandments and the judgments which the Lord commanded to the children of Israel by the hand of Moshe in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho.
Maftir. The daughters of Zelophehad did as Adonai had ordered Moshe. Machlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah all got married to sons of their father's brothers. They were married into the families of the descendants of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. and their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's family. These are the mitzvot and rulings which Adonai gave through Moshe to the people of Israel in the plains of Moab. So if you join me for Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. Strength, strength, and let us be strengthened. Amen. If you join for now for the blessing after reading the Torah portion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chiyei olam nata betochenu. Blessed are you, Adonai, our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the Torah of truth and has planted everlasting life in our midst. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Blessed are you, Adonai, giver of the Torah. Amen. So our Haftorah reading is from Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 4 through 28, and then we skip to chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. So if you turn to Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 4, and then we'll do the blessing. Again, Jeremiah 2, 4 through 28, and then chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. So if you join me for the blessing before the Haftorah, beginning with Baruch atah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar b'nevi'im tovim v'rata devachem hagmarim ba'emet. Blessed are you, Adonai, our Elohim, King of the universe, who has chosen good prophets and was pleased with their word that they spoke in truth. Baruch atah Adonai habokeh b'Torah of Moshe, avdo of Israel, amo and nevi'yeh ha'emet v'tzedek. Blessed are you, Adonai, who chose Torah and Moshe, his servant Israel, his people, and prophets of the truth and righteousness. Hear the word of Adonai, house of Yaakov, and all the families in the house of Israel. Here's what Adonai says. What did your ancestors find wrong with me to make them go so far away from me, to make them go after nothings and become themselves nothings? They didn't ask, where is Adonai, who brought us out of the land of Egypt, who led us through the desert, through the land of wastes and ravines, through a land of drought and death-dark shadows, through a land where no one travels and where no one ever lived. I brought you into a fertile land to enjoy its fruit and all its good tidings. But when you entered, you defiled my land and made my heritage loathsome. The Kohanim didn't ask, where is Adonai? Those who deal with the Torah did not know me. The people's shepherds rebelled against me. The prophets prophesied by Baal and went after things of no value. So again, I state my case against you, says Adonai, and state it against your grandchildren too. Cross to the coasts of the Kittim and look. Send to Kedar and observe closely. See if anything like this has happened before. Has a nation ever exchanged its gods and theirs are not gods at all? Yet my people have exchanged their glory for something without value. But aghast at this, you heavens. Be aghast at this, you heavens. Shudder in absolute horror, says Adonai. For my people have committed two evils. They have abandoned me, the fountain of living water, and dug themselves cisterns, broken cisterns, that can hold no water. Is Israel a slave born into serfdom? If not, why has he become plunder? The young lions are roaring at him. How loudly they are roaring. They desolate his country, demolishing and depopulating his cities. The people of Noph and Tachpanches feed on the crown of your head. Haven't you brought this on yourself by abandoning Adonai your God when he led you along the way? If you go to Egypt, what's in it for you? Drinking water from the Nile? If you go to Asher, what's in it for you? Drinking water from the Euphrates River? Your own wickedness will correct you. Your own backslidings will convict you. You will know and see how bad and bitter it was to abandon Adonai your God, and how fear of me is not in you, says Adonai Elohim Tsevaot. For long ago I broke your yoke. When I snapped your chains, you said, I won't sin. Yet on every high hill, under every green tree, you sprawled and prostituted yourself. But I planted you as a choice vine of seed fully tested and true. How did you degenerate into a wild vine for me? Even if you scrub yourself with soda and plenty of soap, the stain of your guilt is still there before me, says Adonai Elohim. How can you say, I am not defiled, I have not pursued the Baalim? Look at your conduct in the valley. Understand what you have done. You are a restive young female camel running here and there, wild, accustomed to the desert, sniffing the wind in her lust. Who can control her when she's in heat? Males seeking her need not weary themselves, for at mating season they will find her. Stop before your shoes wear out and your throat is dry from thirst. But you say, no, it's hopeless. I love these strangers and I'm going after them. Just as a thief is ashamed when caught, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their leaders, their Kohanim, and their prophets, who say to a log, you are my father, and to a stone, you gave us birth. For they have turned their backs to me instead of their faces. But when trouble comes, they will plead, rouse yourself and save us. Where are your gods that you made for yourselves? Let them rouse themselves, if they can save you when trouble comes. Yehuda, you have as many gods as you have cities. Now chapter 4, verses 1 through 2. Israel, if you will return, says Adonai, yes, return to me, and if you will banish your abominations from my presence without wandering astray again, and if you will swear as Adonai lives in truth, justice, and righteousness, the nations will bless themselves by him, and in him they will glory. Thus ends the Haftorah reading. Our Ketuvim Netzarim reading is from the book of Hebrews, chapter 13. I'll give you a moment to turn there before we do the blessing for the Ketuvim Netzarim. Again, it's the Hebrews chapter 13. If you have the Bible I have, it's on page 1508. All right, if you join for the blessing, beginning with Baruch Atah. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et derek hayeshua b'Mashiach Yeshua v'et sifrei ketuvim netzarim lakal ha'amin. Blessed are you, Adonai, our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us the way of salvation in Messiah Yeshua and the books of the Nazarene writings to all the peoples. Baruch Atah Adonai notain Yeshua b'Yeshua HaMashiach. Blessed are you, Adonai, giver of salvation in Yeshua the Messiah. Amen. Again, Hebrews chapter 13. Let brotherly friendship continue, but don't forget to be friendly to outsiders. For in so doing, some people, without knowing it, have entertained angels. Remember those in prison and being mistreated as if you were in prison with them and undergoing their torture yourselves. Marriage is honorable in every respect, and in particular, sex within marriage is pure. But God will indeed punish fornicators and adulterers. Keep your lives free from the love of money and be satisfied with what you have, for God himself has said, I will never fail you or abandon you. Therefore, we say with confidence, Adonai is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can a human being do to me? Remember your leaders, those who spoke God's message to you. Reflect on the results of their way of life and imitate their trust. Yeshua the Messiah is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Do not be carried away by various strange teachings, for what is good is for the heart to be strengthened by grace, not by foods. People who have made these the focus of their lives have not benefited thereby. We have an altar from which those who serve in the tent are not permitted to eat, for the Kohen Hagadol brings the blood of animals into the holiest place as a sin offering, but the bodies are burned outside the camp. So too Yeshua suffered death outside the gate in order to make the people holy through his own blood. Therefore, let us go out to him who is outside the camp and share his disgrace. For we have no permanent city here. On the contrary, We seek the one to come. Through him, therefore, let us offer God a sacrifice of praise continually, for this is the natural product of lips that acknowledge his name. But don't forget doing good and sharing with others, for with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they keep watch over your lives, as people who have to render an account. So make it a task of joy for them, and not one of groaning, for that is of no advantage to you. Keep praying, for we are certain that we have a clear conscience and want to conduct ourselves properly in everything we do. And all the more I beg for you to do this, so that I may be restored to you that much sooner. The God of Shalom brought up from the dead the great shepherd of the sheep, the Lord, our Lord Yeshua, by the blood of an eternal covenant. May that God equip you with every good thing you need to do his will, and may he do in us whatever pleases him through Yeshua the Messiah. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Now I urge you, brothers, to bear with my message of exhortation, for I have written you only briefly. Know that our brother Timothy has been released. If he comes soon enough, I will bring him with me when I come to you. Greet all your leaders and obey God's greet all your leaders and all God's people. People from Italy send greetings to you. Grace be with you all. Amen. And this ends the reading of the Ketuvim Netzarim. We have the opportunity now to kind of enjoy an intermission before the video. And so if I invite you to pray with me. Bukata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shekol Niyeh Bidvaro. Blessed are you, Adonai our Elohim, King of the universe, who makes all things through his word. Amen. This also concludes our broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube. Shalom.